1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Checking it out, checking it out. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Testing, testing. All right, just making sure we got this thing going first, folks, and hopefully we should be good. Check 1, 2. Give me one more minute for people to come on in. Then I'm going to start talking about the Eagles, folks. Saturday morning, folks. It's around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looks like it's a beautiful day outside. Beautiful fall day, that is. This may not be great by summer standards, though. By October standards, it should be a nice day out. Weather's still nice. It's not freezing. It's jacket weather, but it's manageable. So that means your boy's going to do this stream outside. I'm going to keep doing these streams outside as long as I can, you know? I want to be outside as long as I can, doing these streams, enjoying the weather. And that's it. And that's what's going on, folks. We got another minute or so. All right, man. Whoo. All righty. All right, we got one person in on here. We're going to give it a minute or two, a few more people to come on here. Then I'm going to talk about the game, expectations for tomorrow's Eagles-Vikings game. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eagles travel to Minnesota to play the Vikings. We're on a 2-game losing skid going into this one. And recent performances are going to affect my perspective of what I'm looking for in this contest, folks. Oh, yeah. It's a great day outside, folks. Might even go take a walk in a minute or two. I might talk to you while I'm walking. Howitzer 11. All right, we got some people going now. Good morning, everyone. All right, let's get into it. So, it's week 7 of the NFL season. We kicked it off Thursday night with the Cincinnati Bengals shocking the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 33-31 victory. Joe Flacco had himself an amazing performance against that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And, well, let me tell you something. It was certainly a doozy to start off the week. But, hey, the Cincinnati Bengals offense, like I said when Flacco got signed, he's in a better team situation, but it's not the true answer for the Bengals. Now, even though the Bengals won the game, I still feel like they got a long uphill battle to go. They still only got 2 wins on the season. And they did get a win against their division rival, so I give them props on that. Congrats to the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Flacco played excellent with Chase and Higgins as his 1 and 2 receivers. So that's a good win for the Bengals. Hold on a second. But that's where we started off. Now, when it comes to my team, the Philadelphia Eagles, going against the Minnesota Vikings, obviously, I'm going to support my team. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan through and through. Win, lose, tie, represent my team proudly, no matter what. And I stay loyal to them. Oh, wait, hold on. That's weak. Yeah, that's wait. The Bengals have. Yeah, you're right. Oh, wait. They went. Okay, because they won Browns. Yeah, they did beat the Jaguars. And now this. That's right. Yes, you're correct. 3 wins. So, but they still got a long way to go, though, too. And that defense is still very suspect. So, I mean, congrats to the Bengals, like I said. Good win, but they still got a way to go. And now, talk about the Eagles, man. While they are 4-2, and that smells good on paper, that you're still in first place in the NFC East as of today, but despite the fact that they're 4-2, everyone that's following knows it's not really looking as good as their record says, because they've lost 2 straight. First, they blew a fourth quarter lead against the Denver Broncos to fall to 4-1. And then they got obliterated by the New York Giants on Thursday Night Football, which, that's ridiculous. I mean, look, I understand Jackson Dart now being the Giants quarterback changes things up. They got more flow with their offense, but still, giving up over 30, not even being able to score 20 against the Giants in a game you were heavily favored to win as the defending Super Bowl champs is embarrassing. Now they're coming back against the Minnesota Vikings. Now on Tuesday, when I did my weekly picks, I said the Eagles could have a shot at winning, but the more I look at it, I hope I'm wrong on this one, but it's not looking like a great matchup for the Eagles at all against the Vikings. Even with Carson Wentz being projected to start again, it's not the favorable matchup for the Eagles, especially with the secondary woes these past couple weeks, particularly last week against the Giants, where their secondary was awful. Awful. Keely Ringo was getting burnt like toast the entire game. Quinyon Mitchell left the game early. Now, he is going to be back. He's supposedly going to be matched up against Justin Jefferson, but I'm still not optimistic about the team's chances as a whole, because what about that number 2 spot at corner for the Eagles? That is my big question mark for them. That number 2 spot. Because we saw, like I said, against the Giants, down their number 1 and 2 receiver, mind you. No Malik Neighbors out for the season. No Darius Slayton in that game. And the Eagles secondary still got cooked. Not to mention their run defense. I'll get to that in a minute. That was awful too. But let's start with the secondary first. You got Justin Jefferson, number 1. Looks like Quinyon Mitchell will be back. At least gives them a chance. But considering Justin Jefferson's been balling out and cooking defenders left and right each game, that's going to be a tough matchup for Mitchell. I mean, Justin Jefferson's still going to be the number 1 weapon in the Vikings passing game. And he's still going to have, he's going to get his receptions for sure. Not to mention, there's a good chance that their tight end, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, their number 2 receiver, those guys could still have a really good game. Considering how bad this Eagles secondary was last week against the Giants with no real number 1 option, don't be surprised if that secondary gets cooked again by this Vikings offense. Don't be surprised if TJ Hawkinson Jetta's just being Jetta's this season. Oh, right, Justin Jefferson, he's always cooking. Yeah, absolutely. And if you ask who's the number 1 receiver in the NFL currently, the answer is Justin Jefferson. And based off what I see with this Eagles defense, I don't like the odds of that matchup. Sure, maybe Quinyon Mitchell might slow him down a little bit, but Justin Jefferson is still Justin Jefferson. He's still the best receiver in the NFL for a reason. You don't think he's going to get his receptions? Oh, you bet your ass he will, and that's not going to bode well for the Eagles. And then, like I said, after last week's performance against the Giants, don't be surprised if TJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison have themselves a good game too. Don't be surprised. Because this Eagles secondary, I mean, don't tell you, they're definitely missing Darius Slay. Not just Darius Slay. Remember Isaiah Rodgers? Now, he's not the most flashy name in the world, not the main name that comes to mind, but certainly better than what we have currently on this secondary. And the sad part is Isaiah Rodgers plays for the Vikings. And remember, he had the 2 takeaways against the Bengals. Don't be surprised if Isaiah Rodgers gets in on the action too in this one. But so there's another piece we're missing too. And then so that's a bad matchup right there. So that's one reason I'm not optimistic about the Eagles' chances. A second reason, their run defense. The last 3 games, the Eagles' defense against the run has been terrible. Scatterboo, the rookie for the Giants, had himself a Saquon Barkley level game against that Eagles run defense. Whatever they call run defense. The Broncos had over 100 yards rushing against the Eagles in the Week 5 win. In that game against the Buccaneers where the Bucs nearly came back, we gave up, guess what? Over 100 yards on the ground. And guess what? The Philadelphia Eagles run defense is flawed too. Now you got Jordan Mason, who more of a middle tier running back, but remember, Jordan Mason, we know, can have himself a really good. He had himself a really good game a few weeks ago against the Bengals. He had about close to 150 or over, but remember he had that good game against the Bengals? Yeah. So don't be surprised with the way this Eagles run defense has been looking suspect over the past 3 weeks that Jordan Mason has himself another really good game here. So if you're a fantasy owner, fantasy football owner, and you got Jordan Mason as one of your running backs, I'd recommend starting him this week. So that's not, Jordan Mason isn't the most flashy running back name in the world, but considering this Eagles run defense is fresh off getting cooked by Scatterboo, cooked by the Broncos, cooked by the Buccaneers, cooked by Javonte Williams for the Cowboys week 1 even. I mean, I don't trust them at all. I don't. Don't be surprised, like I said, if Jordan Mason has a really good game. So this is looking more and more. I think about it, I'm like, oh man, this might be a 3rd straight loss for the Eagles, man. I'll tell you, man, there's a lot of players that are missing from last year. Milton Williams, defensive line. New England Patriots. Even Javon Hargrave from a few years back. Guess where he's at? Minnesota. He'll be playing against us tomorrow. Darius Slay. We thought Darius Slay was losing a step or two. Boy, did we take Darius Slay's present for granted. Did we take his present for granted? Look at what we got now with Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson. Hell, even Isaiah Rodgers coming back would have been an upgrade. When we saw the writing on the wall with Keely Ringo during the preseason, I'm surprised we didn't try to go get an Asante Samuel Jr. or something. He would have been better. Now, maybe he wouldn't have been the perfect answer for our secondary, but he would have helped. But here we are now in the regular season, heading to a Week 7 match against the Vikings, stuck with a poor run defense. Jalen Carter, I don't know. He's a bit doubtful, apparently. I mean, he may or may not play. We could certainly use Jalen Carter because he'll at least help out with the run game. At least give us a chance of getting some pressure on Carson Wentz, making him fold. But I'm not really too sure now. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not really too sure about that either. So, it's not look. So the odds are not looking good, though. I still want my team to win. Of course I do. I'm always going to support my team. I always want the Eagles to win. But I am a bit skeptical based off what I've seen in recent weeks. And that's a realistic. Because the odds are still in favor. All right. So, yeah, but the offense has been trash. The offensive play calling. Kevin Patullo, I'll say it, he's looking like the white Brian Johnson. Seriously. You remember Eagles fans from 2 years ago, Brian Johnson, with the awful play calling, with that 2023 roster, which actually talent-wise was a better roster. Remember the play calling? We were calling for Brian Johnson's head all season. Even when those first 11 games when we were 10-1, we were still complaining about Brian Johnson's awful play calling. Still saying he was a terrible guy at offensive play caller. No business calling plays. Remember that. Guy at offensive play caller. No business calling plays. Remember that. Now here we are. Deja vu now, 2025, 1 year removed from a Super Bowl run. You got Kevin Patullo calling plays. We know the story there. But we got to look a little bit further into it. Here, we're going against the Minnesota Vikings, a team who's actually pretty good at getting some pass rush. Now, to be fair, Jalen Hurts on the flip side, he has done a good job avoiding pressure and getting sacked. That's one of the few good things this offense has done this season. Hurts has been good at evading pressure, using his feet to make plays, and not getting sacked too often. So at least we got that going for us. But we're also going against a Vikings team that has 13 sacks in their own right. David, what's up? What's up? Morning, good morning. Hope you're doing good. We're on here talking and ranting about some Eagles football. Now, the expectations for me going into the Vikings game are not too high based on recent weeks. Now, I hope I'm wrong. Hopefully the Eagles do prove me wrong. And as I was saying, though, the one good thing about the offense is Jalen Hurts is good at avoiding pressure. That could help us against the Vikings. Another potential opportunity is the Vikings' run defense is a little sus. They're about 24th or 23rd against the run. Maybe this might be the week that the Eagles' run offense finally gets something going. So maybe there is a potential positive in this one. Maybe. I started off the morning doing so, but I feel like that's the one advantage we may have against the Vikings in this game on offense. Maybe the ground game gets going, but then again, after what happened against the Giants last week, because last week, gotta remember, we started off the game hot. Saquon had a few nice runs. It looked like in the first half, okay, this is going to finally be the game Saquon goes off. He's finally going to have an MVP caliber performance in this one. And this is where the offense is going to finally start clicking. And then in the second half, the whole offense was inefficient. That turned out to be a lie. So even then, even though we could potentially have a good day on the ground, there's no guarantee it's going to happen. There's absolutely no guarantees based on what we've seen last week and the recent weeks. But here's another thing we got to talk about too. It's also the offensive line being banged up. Landon Dickerson's questionable. He's been dealing with injuries all season long too, so that's been a big blow. Remember, he got injured back during training camp. And I think that really messed him up. Because all those weeks he missed during training camp, getting back into football shape, all of a sudden being cleared right before week 1, having to come in to the season with real no practice to get himself back into football shape because he was rehabbing an injury in August. That messed him up a little bit. And then he got injured again this season. He's questionable now. We know Lane Johnson's been banged up too. So this offensive line is not at 100%. We got to factor that in as well. And then, of course, Tyler Steen not being there. I mean, you see this whole offensive line. And the big gem about it was against the Rams week 3 when Fred Johnson came in the second half. That was the big turn, the big gem. But outside that offensive line's been doo-doo, folks. So that's part of the problem too. Last year, the offensive line was great, and that's when Saquon was going off. But we saw it even last week against the Giants. The offensive line struggled immensely. And that's part of the reason we're not doing anything in the second half repeatedly. 3 straight games. What have we really done? Every team wants to play their best game against the Eagles. And yes, that is true too. Right, that's always the pressure that comes along with being the defending Super Bowl champions. But that's also not an excuse for the Eagles either. The Eagles got to recognize this and realize, hey, we're the top team on the schedule. They got to adjust accordingly. Now, is it possible they could adjust? Absolutely. Remember last season they started off 2-2. It was looking like going into the bye week it was going to be a mediocre 8-9 win season, but then everything turned around. So is there a possibility it could turn around? Yes. But this time around, we don't have that early bye week to regroup and get it together. We got to keep playing week after week after week and adjust on the fly. So this time around, it's got to be different. Offensive line's been one of the big problems. And considering the Vikings defense has 13 sacks on the season, that's not looking like a great matchup for the Eagles at all. Now, Jalen Hurts can make plays and avoid the sack, but that's actually part of the problem with the offense. Hurts is constantly being forced to get rid of the ball quickly. It's not helping him out, particularly with third down conversions. It's leading to a lot of sloppy play on offense. And that's a reason why, if you're going to go with this pass approach, your offensive line isn't at its best. Try doing screen passes. Do some 3-yard passes. It's a formula that Drew Brees and Tom Brady did perfectly. Use your running backs in the pass game. Do some screens, 3-yard passes, start to slowly build momentum. Do 3-yarders, 4-yarders to get into a rhythm and flow, then go for the 15-plus yarders. And that's something that the Eagles haven't been doing a lot of. And that's something they should consider more of. I've been calling for weeks now. Use Saquon in the pass game. Use him on screens. And if you've been following my streams, you know I've used this example before, but it's similar to what we did back in years back when we had Brian Westbrook as a running back. And I know that's a different era of football. You know, that was the 2000s. It's the 2020s. It's a little different. I understand that. However, who says you still can't use running backs in the pass game? You certainly can. You can certainly still do it. Especially with those smaller backs. I mean, we've seen before. Eagles have been perfect. Look, when the Eagles know how to use their running backs in the pass game, they do it really well. They did it with Darren Sproles back when we had him. We used him well in the pass game. We used Westbrook, like I said, when he was our number one back in the pass game well. We got to get back into that. I think this season will be the perfect season to adjust because it's not really working. I've been calling for this for weeks and they're not doing it. And A.J. Dillon. Now, I get A.J. Dillon. You don't have a contractual obligation with A.J. that you do with Saquon. So you want to give Saquon more carries. I get that. But at the same time, A.J. Dillon is still on the roster. You could still utilize him in short yard situations. And he'd be good in short yard situations. Maybe like 3rd and 3s. Maybe utilize him a little bit more. Try to get the running backs a little bit more involved in the offense. But for whatever unbeknownst reason, the Eagles are not doing it. They're not getting them involved. And they're just... Yeah, they're relying too much on their wide receivers and their tight ends. That's something the Eagles should fix in this one. So I'm encouraging you, Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, let's get our running backs a little bit more involved in the offense, shall we? Even if it's in the pass game, get them a little more involved. Especially with this Vikings defense that knows how to get pressure because they know how to get to the quarterback. You got to get the ball out quicker against this Vikings team. Got to be quick. Get the ball out of your running back's hand your quarterback's hand quickly, and keep momentum going because that Vikings defense can get pressure on you. And they're a pretty solid duo. Even with not really having a real quarterback, even with Carson Wentz being their quarterback, I'll get to that in a minute. They're still pretty decent offense, and they're still a solid defense. They still got some solid pieces on that defense. So that would be one adjustment I would love to see the Eagles make. Get their running backs more involved. Now, we've seen with A.J. Brown, they started to catch on with him. That's been the one good thing about the offense through the 2-game losing streak is A.J. Brown's involvement. I hope they keep that going, but also try to find creative ways to actually get your running backs involved in a way that benefits the offense. So that'll help as well. And then it's interesting, I just realized that there's 4 former Eagles on the Minnesota Vikings this season. There is. You got Javon Hargrave, remember him. You got Isaiah Rodgers from last year's Super Bowl team. Eric Wilson, who we initially got from Minnesota, who returned. And then you got Carson Wentz, who is projected to start. And even with Carson Wentz, I know as Eagles fans, we like to make fun of him for getting replaced. Nick Foles had to come in and win us a Super Bowl because Wentz couldn't stay healthy the full season. I know we like to talk about how he got replaced by Hurts. And yes, that is true. But Carson Wentz, say what we want to say about him, in the right situation can still have a good game. And seeing how much like I said, the Eagles secondary has struggled. Seeing that we've given up 100+ yards on the ground 3 straight games. And Jordan Mason, while he's not a top running back, he can have himself a good game in the right situation. And that's what I'm concerned with in this matchup with the Vikings. And with Carson Wentz, while he folds in big game situations, in the right situation, he can still have a good game. And this game with that Eagles struggling secondary could be a good opportunity for Carson Wentz to have himself a good game. So that's something we got to be wary of as Eagles fans. That's just why I'm not optimistic about the Birds' chances in this matchup. I hope I'm wrong, like I said, and hopefully the Eagles find a way to prove me wrong. But that's something we got to be wary of. So it's like, it's just not looking that great for the Eagles going into it. I mean, hopefully it's just a temporary spell. This team can turn things around and get it going. But, oh yeah, so predictions as of now. If you guys listen to me, you kind of have an idea. You already know where I'm going with this. I got the Minnesota Vikings winning this game. Now, hopefully the Eagles prove me wrong. We go to 5-2. Stay in first place in the NFC East. Because the win keeps us in first place in the NFC East. But I do have the Vikings winning this one. Give me them by a score of 33-14. But hopefully I'm wrong, though. And plus, it's going to be in Minnesota inside that dome, where it's going to be really loud, too. Because I remember when we played them inside that dome back in 2000. What year was it? 2019, remember, we got cooked inside that new MT Bank Stadium. No, not MT Bank. We got cooked inside the dome at Minnesota last time we played them there. That was in 2019. And yes, some people will allude to the fact that, yes, it is true, we are playing the Vikings in Minnesota, the return to the site of our Super Bowl 52 victory, but come on, that was nearly a decade ago, folks. Times have changed. Times have changed. It's not the same team that it was then. It's not the same roster that it was. So that's, even though, yes, while it is kind of sweet, nice for a moment to realize, hey, we're playing in Minnesota, the site of our Super Bowl 52 victory, it's not going to help us out in this game. Because that was a different era, but in this one, like I said, I think the Vikings will win, but despite all that, despite all the negative I said, you got to be realistic. There still may be a chance. There may be a chance they prove me wrong and they do win. So I got to talk about that. I mean, if Jalen Carter does play, maybe our pass rush gets back in sync. Or maybe Jordan Davis actually has himself a good game like he did against the Rams. And maybe the defense finds a way to hit some plays, make it happen. Maybe it does happen. So maybe it does happen. So, Hank, give me that. I would love for that to happen, bro. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see the Philadelphia Eagles win, because if we win, we're 5-2, and that keeps us in first place. Doesn't matter what the Giants do against the Broncos. Doesn't matter what happens with the Cowboys and Commanders. If we win, we control our own destiny. And I said this after week 4, right after the Cowboys-Packers game when they tied. I said, look, forget about what the Commanders did against the Chargers. Forget about the Giants winning against... the Giants being the Chargers. Forget about the Commanders against the Falcons. Forget about the Cowboys tying the Packers. As long as we win, we control our own destiny. And that's what was happening. But we've lost 2 straight. We took our foot off the gas pedal, and we've lost a step on controlling our own destiny. And now we're stuck at 4-2. But a win could overturn that. If we can prove everyone wrong, if we can prove it, they prove me wrong, I will happily come on here Monday and talk about it and give some nod to the Eagles for winning. But in order to win this game, the Eagles are going to have to make some big changes. Number one, their run defense and their pass rush is going to have to step up. They're going to have to win the battle on the trenches on the defensive line. We're probably going to need Jalen Carter in the game for that. And that would be one way to make a difference, folks. That would help us out big time. That would really, really play a big factor in this one. Seriously, if we could actually win the battle in the trenches for once and do a complete 180 of what we did against the Giants, oh my gosh, you know how much different this game will be? If you actually have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter plays, we're getting pressure to Carson Wentz. We'll make him fold. If we could sack Carson Wentz like we did against the Commanders when he was in Washington back in 2022, bro, that'll make a huge difference. And then the Eagles will actually have something going. That would be awesome. Awesome. But Eagles are actually going to have to do something to get there. They're going to have to get to the quarterback, win the battle of the trenches against their offensive line. And like I said, try to get the running backs more involved in the pass. Try to get rid of the ball quicker, some screen passes. Do some RPOs with Hurts. That 2022 season, guess what it was? It was RPO, 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 RPO. RPOs. That's what won it for us. That's what helped Jalen Hurts had that near MVP season, those RPOs. If we can do that again, that'll help us out big time. So there are some changes that got to be made there. That would really help out. And the play, like I said, the play calling would make a big difference too. Try getting those short passes going. I mean, it could make just a huge difference. And like I said, because we can't keep playing the way we've been playing. Yeah, because we're at that point now. The difference between 2023 and 2025 is 2023, we had enough talent on the roster. We could skate by to December through 11 weeks, 10-1, winning games before it all came to hurt us, before it bit us in the back, and teams finally figure out how to beat us. This go around, it only lasted 4 weeks. It was only 4 weeks going against a Dallas Cowboys team who, we mind you, got some help from some CeeDee Lamb drops. So there was that right there. And we got some help from a trash Cowboys secondary, which, looking back on, we should have been able to score more than 24 points. Let's be real. All right? That Dallas Cowboys secondary has been trash. Jordan Love cooked them. Caleb Williams cooked them. You've also probably, Jaden Daniels will probably have a rebound game to rookie form and cook them. The Carolina Panthers, Chuba Hubbard and Bryce Young cooked them. We should have gotten more than 24 points against the Cowboys looking back. So there was that right there. Kansas City, we got 20 points against them. All right. I mean, to be fair, they're still a decent defense, but I don't know. And it was kind of, very sleet. It was sleet-like weather, muddy weather, so I could give them some benefit of the doubt. Week 3 against the Rams, we got going in the second half. Week 4 against the Bucs, we got over 30 points, mostly in the first half. So we were starting to do something right on offense weeks 3 and 4. Even though they weren't perfect games, we were doing something right. But then we dropped the ball. I'm going with Washington in that one. I mean, it's going to be enough, but that could go either way because Washington's dealing with a lot of older players on their defense. That could have a good game, but then vice versa. Cowboys defense is trash. So I'm thinking it could come down. I don't know. I got a feeling the Cowboys might take the upset in that one, honestly. They might take the upset, but then again, Washington maybe I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to come down to the end of the game. It could go either way. Even though Washington's the clear-cut favorites, don't be surprised that comes down to the wire. It's probably going to come down to time of possession and who gets the ball last. But I think there's a chance the Cowboys might get the upset. I do, so that could be upset alert right there. And while we're still on that subject, another upset alert game, I got Falcons versus 49ers. A lot of people still think the 49ers. I don't know. I'm leaning toward the Falcons getting an upset over the 49ers. After, seeing the 49ers struggled against the Jaguars, they struggled against the Cardinals, being they're down on defense. I think Bijan Robinson could have himself a really good game there against that 49ers banged up defense. That can make it easy for the Falcons offense. And plus, the Falcons, to be fair, they have a really good defense. They kept Josh Allen in check last week. They did a good job shutting down Mariota against Washington. I'm telling you, the Falcons might be another upset too this week. So, I'm kind of thinking there's going to be a few more upsets this week. And plus, we already got the one with the Bengals and Steelers. I don't know. I'm just getting that upset week vibe again. I am. So, I think Dallas could be one. Like I said, Falcons could be another upset over San Fran. So, I'm getting those type of vibes this week, Dave. I'm getting those type of vibes. But ultimately, we still got to wait and see what happens. We got to wait for the teams to step on the field and see how it goes down. But, hey. But, hey, time will tell, man. Time will tell. Oh, it's just someone's smoking weed around me. I can smell it, but at least that'll be interesting. And for me, if the Eagles can prove me wrong, salute, man. I hope they do. I hope they win this game, go to 5-2. Let what happened the past couple weeks be a thing of the past if that happens. But it's not looking like the best matchup in the world, so we have to wait and see on that one. But I can say, at least, A.J. Brown, I feel like, hey, at least he's having himself a bit of a rebound. Hold on a second. Hey, at least A.J. Brown's starting to get back in the sync, but the offense as a whole still has work to do. All right. One moment, folks. All right. Yeah, but all right. But I mean, either way, though, man, I'm actually glad, David, you brought up some of these other teams because at least that helps us stream out a little bit, give us something to talk about. And speaking of that, by the way, Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it'll be episode 31 of the 3-Point Blitz. I'm sure David will be there in the chat along with Arku and a few others. And with NBA season being, right around the corner and being that NBA basketball is back, some of those 3-Point Blitz episodes I've been doing where I'm recapping the NFL, I'm going to be throwing some NBA content in there. So, folks, some of these 3-Point Blitz episodes could be a little bit longer. Now, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. I'm just saying, because we got the NBA back, you're going to start getting some NBA content thrown in with the weekly NFL recaps I've been doing on the 3-Point Blitz. So, if you want me to do some longer 3-Point Blitzes, well, your wish is going to happen now with the NBA being back. So we got that. Now, speaking of that, though, now I'm really hoping the Eagles turn around because the Sixers, not the most optimistic person in the world about it. I'm not. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. So now, like I said, though, but with the NBA right around the corner, with the 76ers, I mean, if they stay healthy this year, maybe they're best case scenario 6th or 7th seed, but I'm not really feeling like the Sixers are going to have that great of a season. Even if, God forbid, even if they do stay healthy this time around, and particularly Embiid, maybe we have a better season. We might get the play-in tournament or the playoffs, but I feel like at best Sixers are going to be a first-round exit. So I'm not really looking too forward to the NBA season for the Sixers. I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these teams do. I'm curious how Kevin Durant's going to do with the Rockets. I'm curious about that. I'm looking to see now the Miami Heat, how they do. Curious if Lauri Markkanen's going to get traded during the season or not. I'm curious about Giannis, how that's going to play out. I'm also looking to see how does Luka do his first full season with the Lakers. Do we start to see that transition, official transition from LeBron to Luka? I'm curious how the Pacers are going to do without Halliburton for most of the season. It's going to be interesting. So I am looking forward to some of the stories around the league, how the Thunder do as champs, what happens with Cam Johnson now on the Nuggets. Is he that good number 2 guy to get the Nuggets back to the big dance? So there's a lot of interesting things going on in the NBA. I think the Sixers, like I said, at best, maybe first round exit. At best. So because I'm not the most optimistic about the Sixers based on their roster, I'm really hoping the Eagles, I got my fingers crossed that they're going to deliver, because last year when the Sixers were awful, the Eagles were the beacon of hope as a Philly fan. Their run, winning Super Bowl 59, destroying Kansas City, was the beacon of hope. So I'm hoping the Eagles get back to form. Hopefully they win this game. Let that 2-game losing streak be a thing of the past, but realistically, I could see the Vikings winning this game. So I'm also going to be realistic, too, about it. But ultimately, we're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. I could sit here, ramble on about this, ramble about what if Saquon has a good game against that Vikings defense. And if he does, I'll certainly be happy. And that could certainly help us win this game, because that's been a factor we haven't had all season. If Saquon Barkley balls out, that could be a game changer for us and really help that offense reach heights it's not yet reached since the Super Bowl run, since the championship last year. Could help this team get back to those heights if our running game gets in sync. So that would be a great possibility if it happens. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we still got to wait for the Eagles to actually get out and play the game and make it happen. So we will see what happens. Ultimately, now it's just a waiting game. It's Saturday. It's college football day. So as far as the NFL goes, we're going to have to wait another 24 hours. We're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. Will the Panthers... Who are the Panthers playing again? Oh, yeah, Panthers are playing the Jets. Panthers are probably going to have a good game against the Jets. Probably have another good game from Rico Dottle. We'll trash that Jets defense. But we still got to wait and see come game time if it actually happens or not. We still got to wait and see. We still got to actually wait till they get out on the field and make it happen. And we still got to wait and see. Hey, Giants, Broncos, that could be a toss-up, man. I think that could. I mean, the Broncos, considering how sluggish the Broncos' offense looks, that could go either way. But with that Giants, now the difference is Jackson Darty's going to have a much tougher game going around against Nick Bonito, Patrick Surtain, and that Alex Singleton, that Broncos defense. They're a much more sound and all-around better defense than the Philadelphia Eagles are at this moment. So, in that game, best believe I'm expecting the Denver Broncos defense to do a much better job and take care of business in that one. So that could be interesting, but ultimately we gotta wait and see for all of it. Washington, Dallas, that could go either way. Kind of on upset alert, but we still gotta wait and see. Just another 24 hours. And hey, for me, man, I'll be checking out the Eagles-Vikings game. We'll see what happens. Not the most optimistic person, but will I be cheering on the Eagles? Oh, you bet I'm going to be cheering the Eagles. I'm still going to be riding fly, Eagles fly, win, lose, or tie, no matter what the outcome. Come back, talk about it on Monday. Then on Tuesday, episode 31 of the 3-Point Blitz, we're going to do the NFL recap, and we're going to talk a little bit about the start of the NBA season on that one. So, hey, time for talking's over. Let's just see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this. David and everyone else that stopped by, thanks for stopping by. Support my streams as always. I hope you enjoyed it. If I don't drop any more content, have a great rest of your Saturday. Until next time, it's your boy Nicky Steve signing off. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go out there, prove me wrong, give me something to be happy about. And that's all I'm going to say for now, y'all. Catch y'all next time. Have a great Saturday. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Peace.